So last year I interviewed my wife and she shared her experiences about what it was like to live in Hawaii after 1 year, things that she liked, maybe she didn't like. And so I want to make a follow-up video about her second year living in Hawaii, kind of how it was. And of course this year was very different for everyone, but I think it's still pretty interesting having gone through everything that we went through in Hawaii, especially for her being a relatively new resident to Hawaii. Of course, it was different because we also had the birth of our son, but I just want to thank her for sharing her experiences as a new resident of Hawaii and of course as a new mom. All right, with that, here's that interview.
So it's been, I guess, well, a year after making that YouTube, so technically it's been 2 years since since I moved to Hawaii. 2020 was a very challenging year in so many ways that I cannot find words to kind of explain how it was. I think it was very different for all the people. It was a different year in so many ways. That first we had the global pandemic. That just the world went kind of chaos, but on the positive note, we also gave birth to our baby boy in March, and he's almost 8 months old. I think our lifestyle has become more stable than before compared to how he was newborn, but 2020 was quite a rough year. We were originally gonna go back to Japan about the same time as last year, so around October and November too, that we were originally gonna attend my close friend's wedding, but we just couldn't because of COVID. My parents couldn't come to see our baby boy when we gave birth. My mom was supposed to come here for about 2 months. That didn't happen. My parents missed out on seeing him grow. I mean, 2020 I guess it was just a year that nobody expected, and I'm sure it was rough and hard for so many people. And it was rough for us too. But we managed to survive, and I'm so glad that 2020 is almost over, finally. So pandemic in Hawaii it was hard. We had 2 lockdowns. We have so many restrictions. We still have the restriction and the rules that we gotta follow. I don't have my mask on because I'm keeping social distance right now. That we couldn't really get together as a family. Even my in-laws, they couldn't really see our son too much too. And then, although the restaurants have opened up nowadays, but we don't really go out because who knows, right?
Yeah, do you guys have any extra money for food at all?
Sorry, no. The pandemic just threw everybody off. It's rough. I think Hawaii was one of the more strict states that because it's such a small island and anybody could get infected. So we had to be respectful for the people that are around, because limited number of hospitals and all that too. At a certain point, I just felt like living here was tough. Made me feel like I was in a zoo or something, or in a jail. Like, couldn't really go anywhere. Especially with our baby boy too, that I have to think. It wasn't just about me or my husband, we have to think of him as well, and we had to really be careful with where we go, and because babies can't wear masks, so just extra things to be cautious of. And I think it was, yeah. I'm sure New York and California and other Florida, different states had their own struggles, but Hawaii was quite tough too. It's quite hard to say what was good about what's still good about Hawaii with all this global pandemic. I remember from last year I mentioned about food, weather. Oh wow, I didn't feel like I had have to put makeup to go out. I think those are still the same. Foods are still good. Although it's mainly takeouts, but then I don't think the quality has gotten worse because it was takeout. Weather is still wonderful. Now it's winter. It's raining in the morning a lot of times, but it still kind of gives us the cool breeze and that it's not hot in the morning at night, which is really nice. During the day it still gets hot, but I think this whole pandemic threw everything off, and then this year was abnormal, I guess, to compare to how things were last year in 2019. It kind of made me realize Hawaii is a place, it's like it's a part of America, but kind of not part of America. It's like it's a island where it has its own culture, and you gotta respect the culture that's on this island. It's very different from mainland. You gotta follow the rules, you gotta respect the kapunas, the elders, and just people that are around, because the island is so small. So the struggles that I felt back in 2019 last year, I think it still remains the same. I think especially safety wise, I think it's very unfortunate to tell that or say that it has gotten a little bit worse than before because of the pandemic. I'm not sure if that would have changed if we didn't have pandemic, but I feel sometimes I just don't feel safe to even walk around the neighborhood. As much as I would love to take our baby boy to a walk to just get some refreshment, or just get some fresh air even, but then you just don't know who's around you, and with the whole COVID thing too. So it's like, I guess as long as you maintain the social distance thing, it doesn't really affect that much. But still, I'm more worried, I'm more cautious about just things and people around me, and yeah, that safetyness was a big issue, I think, right now. I personally, from where I came from, I guess, I just don't feel safe. Transportation still remains the same because I still don't have driver's license. I mean, we are hoping that I will learn how to drive in the year of 2021 so that it gives some freedom for my husband. But what else? Oh yeah, cost of living, yeah, it's still the same. I think it's still the same. Yeah, and now with the whole COVID, we do more shopping on Amazon, or do like the curbside pickup or something like that, yeah. The things that I look forward to doing in 2021, that's a hard question, because now with our son too, things are just so different that it's kind of hard to tell what or say that of all the things that we want to do, I guess. But go to beach more. I mean, we could go to beach. I mean, beaches are open. It's just that we really haven't gone out. I mean, we've gone once, twice. But that's about it. I mean, I guess enjoy the nature more with our son. I think the restrictions in Hawaii was fair. It was fair. I mean, some people think it's ridiculous to be wearing masks all the time, or they don't believe that masks will prevent you from catching any virus, or but I guess as a person who grew up in Japan, I mean, I didn't really hesitate, or for me it was normal to wear masks, because it's very common to wear masks in Japan, especially during winter time. And people wear it sort of for yourself, to protect yourself. So I think that, I mean, it for me, it was not a big deal. I mean, it would have been so different if we didn't have our son. I don't think it would have been a different year. Just a lifestyle with a baby, without a baby, is different in general. It's like, but because of the pandemic, my husband was able to stay home, work from home, and help me. He was here a lot of the times to help me, and I was really thankful of it, because not many people get to do that. And even for our baby boy, I just hope that he feels loved by both of us, because rare in a way. If this whole pandemic didn't happen, I would be always at home. I would be a stay-home mom, and take care of him by myself most of the time. Not saying that my husband is not going to be a part of raising him, but it's going to be mainly on me. But because of COVID, we got to do it together as a team, and I think that was a big blessing and a privilege for him. Not only because he was our firstborn son, but it just gave us more time to spend time with him and get to see his milestones in person. And a lot of things happened in this past 8 months that, a lot of things happened in 8 months, and then we got to see that. So I was just very thankful for my husband to be always at home and help me and do this together. Thank you. I don't know how things are gonna be next year, to be honest. Now that States is opening up and more tourists from all over the world will be coming into Hawaii. We might have another lockdown. Who knows? Like, it's hard to predict anything right now, but as a family, we're just trying to be thankful of this situation that we're in, because we're not in control and we can't do anything about it. But what we can do is to set our minds to think of what we can do in this circumstance, and I think that's what we all gotta do.
So I was on baby duty during this whole video, but I just want to thank my wife for giving us like an update on the second year of living in Hawaii. It was kind of a weird year, so it's definitely different, but hopefully you learned something, and hope everyone is doing really well, keeping themselves safe. But thanks for watching, and aloha.